them that will help us in our opportunities to capture persons that travel there to purchase tickets and to reconcile them.
So there are some collaborations that between both offices that moving forward.
Yeah, it gave us a great opportunity to get to know them, they to know us, and develop mutual relationships and friendships.
Very well. In the post-audit report, in the section for professional services and contracts, that's on page 8. Can you provide me with some more details? You have listed here your audit fees. Who do you contracted for audits?
Bert Smith and Associates.
All right. Legal consultation?
We haven't contracted anyone. We're able to utilize the generousness of our board chair, whoever she has as a legal counsel has helped us. But recently, I've been dealing with Michelle Baker out of Government House.
Okay. So these figures that I see here, are these projected for FY23 or these are for FY22?
FY23.
FY22. 23. Okay. And professional consultation, $80,000.
We have at least one person that we've retained to assist us in developing our.
Who you said? I'm sorry.
Sorry, Woolsey and Associates is the name.
Okay.
And all that money isn't for that contract. We just budgeted for in case we needed to deal with multiple contractors. We hired him to assist us in developing the technical scope of our remote draw, our MOU and with TNL and stuff like that. We also had contracted throughout this fiscal year with Canadian Banknote. They did our actuarial study for us to give us information that we can use to develop our price point structures and stuff like that.
So what was appropriated for FY22 and what are your actuals for professional services contracts?
2 minutes.
The number exactly of Ms. Proctor. Are you there anywhere? You there? Senator Vila, did up there?
1 minute, I think, Ms. Proctor.
Okay.
She's still there. Go ahead.
Yes. So, professional services.
Maybe while you look that, let me ask the director, on base, can you please elaborate a little bit, what is that, $87,000?
I'd be very happy to yield to my IT director to speak to that.
Enoch Noel, Director of IT. Could you repeat the question for me?
On base, as professional services contract for $87,000.
Yeah, so we are currently trying to replace our current system that we use for our POS and our onboarding system. What this system will do is basically replace what we have now.
And the one you have now, how long you've had it?
How long have we had that? Oh, 5-6 years? Yeah. Just trying to bring it up to speed with the technology.
All right. So information technology consultation for $64,000. Is that connected to the on base or that's something separate?
No, that's something separate.
Okay. What that consultation is for?
That's a off-site IT vendor that we use.
Who's the vendor?
SmartPoint.
SmartPoint. Does she have the information for me for professional contracts?
Say that again.
Ms. Proctor?
Yes, for professional services, we have paid $63,918 for fiscal year 2022 thus far.
How much? I'm sorry?
$63,918.
Thus far. And how much was appropriated?
FY22?
Yes.
I want to believe it was about the same amount.
Same amount as $445,000 that you're projecting for FY23?
No. You talking the aggregate total?
Yes.
No, because we just added on base. The cost for janitorial services went up.
No, excuse me, for fiscal year 2022, our total professional services budget was $339,960.
Okay, so you have some money, good chunk left back.
No, you keep referring, this is 23 that you're looking at.
No.
23.
You asked for the total professional services. What I gave you was just the cost for professional services thus far.
FY 22.
FY22, got you.
Yes.
For training now, give me a little bit of breakdown also for and the post-audit report training section here. Well, let's jump to what shows up in Exhibit 9
Time.
and page 9, STAR Private Investigation. Can you elaborate what is that for?
Director Jacobs?
Good morning, Senator. Could you repeat that question?
STAR's Private Investigation. What
Okay,
are their
so
duties and responsibilities?
STAR's private investigations, they're based out of Texas. They act on our behalf at the IGT secure facility in Texas in the event that we have to go into lockdown as a part of the Powerball process.
Very well. Thank you very much. I don't want to abuse my time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Carrion. Senator Carla Joseph.
A pleasant good day, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. A pleasant good day, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues, as well as the listening and viewing audience, and also the testifiers. I just want to say that you are doing a really good job. I tried my very best to encourage everyone during my discussions on the Committee on Finance, even though I'm not a member, so that you could have that level of encouragement, because I know it's not easy, the work that you do. I'm going to focus most of my questioning relative to one, the scholarships that have been awarded for fiscal year 2022. Director, in your comments on page 8, you mentioned that you had 56 applicants for financial scholarships. What was the aggregate amount awarded to all of these individuals, organizations?
Sorry, I didn't calculate. We were budgeted for that portion of our program to the tune of $300,000. I don't.
Okay.
I'd have to get that back to you specifically.
Can Ms. Proctor doesn't have that information available at her fingertip?
Sure. Director of Marketing, Ms. Burgess has the information here.
Good morning, Ms. Joseph. Can you repeat your question, please, Senator Joseph?
No, Ms.
Certainly.
Proctor, Ms. Victoria's going to answer it.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. Well, good afternoon. Victoria Burgess, Director of Marketing and Public Relations. So when I'm
It's still morning, Ms. Bridges.
oh, okay, great.
It's still morning. It's still
Okay.
morning. We had a long break, but we're still in the day.
Yes, correct. All right. So to answer your question, you were inquiring about our sponsorship budget. We allocated $224,595.90 from that scholarship fund.
What's the amount that's available in the scholarship fund?
$300,000 is how much we allocate to the fund. And the amount that I told you is what we allocated, what we spent.
Repeat that amount for me, that total amount.
$224,595.90.
And so you have a remaining balance of how much? What's your remaining balance? And do you plan to award any of the other applicants who have applied for this scholarship?
So the scholarship it's closed currently. We've exceeded the time frame from which it runs. So we'll reopen that for the next fiscal.
And what is the time frame? Quickly.
What is the time frame for what?
What is the time frame to apply for the scholarship?
Repeat this.
Time free.
When does the scholarship open and when does the scholarship
Okay, so
end? My
it's going
time
to
is
open
running.
No problem. It opens October 1st.
And when does it end?
Actually ends in September. However, we've exceeded the application amount.
And just for further clarification, Senator Joseph, we generally have applicants that send in applications months in advance. So before we close out, we try to approve them so that we make sure we not only expend the money, but ensure that
Yes,
the opportunities are.
I understand, but you look like you have some money left back there. That's why I was asking, because you have a balance, and your employee represented it would be closed in September. But I was wondering if there were more persons who were scheduled to be awarded so that all the money couldn't be used up, because that's what you want to do, especially if you have that money allocated. I'm going to just move on. Let's go to the Horse Racing Improvement Fund. I noted in actually it's Ms. Proctor's testimony, you have given mandatory transfers that were given are supposed to be made. I don't know if this was covered during our break because of technical issues, but I would like to get a rundown. Education Initiative Fund. How much have you actually transferred? And are you up to date with the transfer to this fund?
Okay, so the mandatory transfers take place generally quarterly. The Education and Initiative Fund at 15% of those revenues is 1.6. Same thing for pharmaceutical assistant, 1.6. To date, we've also given the GRS $1,073,000, and the horse racing improvement
Okay,
fund
$1,073,000
for GRS.
Okay. And what about the Horse Racing Improvement Fund? Have you given them all of the money that you're supposed to have given them over the fiscal years?
We hadn't, but we made a lump sum transfer, I think in excess of about $380,000 maybe a month or two ago. But based on what Ms. Proctor is showing here, we did a transfer of $14,082 to the Horse Racing Improvement Fund.
Okay, so my question would be then, Mr. Williams and Ms. Proctor, does the lottery owe any money that it is mandated to transfer to any of these four funds?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think we owe anyone. It's a matter
Ms.
of
Proctor,
the
excuse me,
base of revenue that comes in.
Yeah, would it, since this was part of Ms. Proctor's testimony, could she verify?
Good morning, Senator Joseph. We have made all the monetary transfers. In terms of horse racing, thus far we only paid for the injured horses to Golden Age Ranch. That's the $14,000 that was paid out for Q1 to Golden Age Ranch.
And you're supposed to pay how much in each quarter?
To Golden Age Ranch. Well, presently, Golden Age Ranch has sent a request into the Department of Agriculture, and once they give me the approval, then the payment is made. So second quarter and third quarter are outstanding because I haven't gotten approval to make payment. So it's over like $28,000 that we have for Golden Age Ranch. And as soon as we get the okay from Department of Agriculture, the payment will be made.
Okay. All right. My time has been called. Mr. Chairman, I do have
You
one
may conclude
other
with your last question. You may conclude.
Okay, thank you. Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to ask regarding some of the new types of gaming you indicated in the Committee on Government Operations last year that you were planning to bring to the system, which would be additional revenue generating mechanism. Have you been able to get any headway on that, Director?
We're making headway, as I stated in my testimony earlier. We met with the Caribbean Lottery and their regional offices in Barbados because it was my hope, that, like you said, to have those games that are competitive to the illegal games online by now, but
I
it hasn't
understand.
happened yet.
So what is your new projected time frame?
By the third quarter of FY23.
Thank you kindly. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the leeway. I
Senator
deeply
Wheeler.
appreciate it.
Let me just say something, just to help.
Thank you, Senator Joseph. Director Williams?
Yeah, I just want to help the senator to appreciate that. In terms of transfers, based on Title 32, there's a series of transfers that we are required to make. Of that one specific to agriculture and to Golden Age Ranch, it's 3% of revenues that are generated through our VLT games. And of that 3%, I think it's either 0.75% of 1% that those numbers come from.
Thank you so much. Senator James, you recognize?
Good afternoon, testifiers. Good afternoon. I should say good morning, testifiers. Good morning to the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. I see here I was comparing the FY 2022 to the FY 2023. And no way, shape, or form I'm saying individuals don't deserve more, but can you justify the increase when it comes to janitorial services? If I'm not mistaken, I was reading the FY 2022 budget, and I was comparing it to this year, and I think I saw an increase. Can you speak to the justification for that?
Yeah, simply cost of supplies, cost of doing business, payroll and stuff like that required an increase for janitorial services.
Okay, just want to make sure. And it was made mention that in your testimony that you're working on a creation of a VI lottery app. At what cost? Have you already purchased?
No, we haven't. Ms. Burgess is working on that at present. I don't know what the cost is going to be thus far. Ms. Burgess?
All right. To answer your question, we're actually in the development process. We're gathering research. We've been consistent but gradual in our transition and implementation of technology into our services. We wanted to make sure that our customers and our dealers are comfortable in coming along on this journey. Thus far, we did a series of focus groups where we invited dealers and customers to come in and to speak to them about the development of the app and their comfort level. We've also been tracking our analytics to ensure that people are actually using the technologies that we added. For instance, the QR codes that you see on our tickets now, we are making sure that people are actually using them to scan their tickets and check their winnings, as well as tracking it on our website. So we now feel comfortable enough to take that leap. So we're talking with our lottery partners in several states right now, that have went ahead and created an app and did that, went through this process. So we're just gathering information, and the next step will be to put out an RFP for those services.
Good stuff. And as far as an assessment of how this will increase our overall revenues as we speak about the FY 2023 budget, because I'm hoping and praying that this will be done in FY 2023.
That's the objective, yes.
So as far as an assessment, have you conducted an assessment to find out, okay, just to give us a projection of our revenues and increase?
Well, let me say this. With our traditional lottery sales right now, generally peaking somewhere about 54%. The fact that we don't have an online or subscription sales process to supplement that subscription sales using this thing, hopefully with the app and by developing that, we can capture a younger market as well. To my hope anyway is to once we are able to accomplish that, is to take our revenue, our average revenue per draw up to 72%.
Good stuff. I'm happy to know that you're thinking out of the box and you're digitizing government. I'm all for that. And I see here where you made mention you project a 10%, an approximately 10% increase in revenues on Southland Gaming and an additional 7.56% increase on Caribbean Lottery. How were you able to come up with these numbers?
Those are numbers that generally come from the contractors, but simply Southland Gaming, by the fact that they opened Parrot Club in St. John, that will bump their revenues as well.
Okay, thank you for placing that on the record. And I saw where you mentioned and you completed an audit for FY 2020. As far as the process for FY 2021, when will you be able to start that process?
Best practice is every 3 years that you do audits, okay. But the Division of Investigation and Security, they, along with my draw manager, they continue to do like spontaneous checks. They'll go to the different retailers and look at randomly select equipment
2 minutes
to look and see and to ensure that cash in, cash out is consistent. We also utilize the Bally Connect system. It's a multi-connect system that gives us accurate information as to which to each piece of VLT machine and the status on the equipment. So there's multiple ways to ensure and enforce that.
And I want us to stick right there when it comes to Southland Gaming. I know Director Jacobs, the last time you came before us, you made mention that some of the machines were offline. Can you speak to the status of that as that contributes to revenues? I know you made mention a good amount of machines were down. What's the status of that?
Good morning, Lamar Jacobs, Director of Security and Investigations. Yes, Senator, as the Director mentioned, we go out on a regular basis to make sure that these machines that are down are back up. So I can't give you an exact number, but I can tell you we have made significant progress in making sure majority of the machines in the retailers are up and running.
And let me just add to that. One of those major retailers that the equipment is down is Windward Passage. You know, that's a huge situation, but they have a legal situation between them and Southline Gaming for dollars owed to Southline Gaming. That's why they're offline.
Thank you for placing that on the record. And as far as your enforcement officers, I know you have some vacancies. As far as making the position more attractive, have you came up with any incentives? I know I spoke to, Fort Authority. They're working on sign-on bonuses, certain things to make it more attractive. As far as getting individuals to fill a position, because as you take on more responsibility in the gaming world, I want to make sure that you have the adequate workforce. So can you speak to what you're doing to attract individuals?
So two things we spoke to earlier: increase in salary to make their salaries more competitive, and number two, we have probably some of the best benefits lottery does. We pay 100% health insurance for our employees. So compare that to any other agency and let me know what you get.
Okay, just want to make sure that you can be able to fill those vacancies and Mr. Jacobs can be successful in his endeavors as he seeks to improve the overall division or agency. Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, can I ask one last question?
You may proceed.
As far as training, I know you made mention of conferences and what have you, but when people see conferences, they see it as we're going on vacation. But I really wanted to place on the record what is the real return on investment, how that has contributed to the overall training to make sure that we have a proper workforce to be able to recruit, retain them, and to be able to enforce. Can you speak to that? And that would be my last question, Mr. Chair.
So we'll answer it in two parts if you don't mind. I'll just use PDS, for example. NASPL does professional development series. Most of those courses are online. And those courses are designed specifically to like accounting, administration, and stuff like that. Especially, specifically to enforcement, I'm going to yield to Director Jacobs.
Yes, well, relative to the give back on these trainings, you could see the proof is in the pudding. You have arrests being made. Officers are now able to go out in the field, accurately have surveillance operations. They come back, they write almost perfect documents that they're able to present before the courts to make sure we're able to have our charges stick. And that's what we continue to do with these trainings.
Thank you so much, Senator James. Senator Fred Gregory, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good morning, colleagues, and good morning to the testifiers.
Good morning.
I have a few questions. Do you generate interest income?
Ms. Proctor?
And that's a yes or no.
Good morning, Senator Fred Gregory. Yes, we do.
Okay, so I'm not seeing where, in the post-audit report, I'm not seeing your interest income. I think that's very important information for us. So if you can take some time and let us know what your interest income looked like for FY22 and what you're projecting for 23, I would appreciate that. I want to go to your non-operating revenue. Do you have any outstanding loans?
No loans.
Okay, so I'm seeing a negative interest of 85,600 on page 4 of the post-audit report. Could you please go to that page? I need to understand what that negative is. That should be a positive because it's it should be funds coming into, so it's probably placed in the wrong category on the post-audit report. So let me know that. Now, I want to go back to the conversation that my colleague from St. Thomas spoke about earlier with the respective mandated transfers, the transfers that are mandated by statute. Now, the transfer to the Special Education Initiative Fund, I know that your numbers fluctuate annually. What is that obligation based on the law?
For the Educational Initiative Fund is 15, I think, how the breakdown works, I think it's 246, 11, 4, or 246, 11, A, yeah, 246, 11, 1 or 2, speaks to transferring 15%.
Okay, so I'm seeing in the law that is 35% between the traditional games and the compensation from contractors.
Now, it's 15% for the Educational Initiative Fund and 10% to the GRS.
15% that comes from where? 15% of your operating revenues after or before expenses?
15%, based on how the law is structured, it speaks to under sections 246A 11. It says apportionment of the total accrued revenues. And then it goes under 11I. It says we shall transfer 20% of the net income from lottery of all games authorized under the chapter. And then we jump over to under that same category. It says that of that 50% allocated to the general fund shall be utilized by the Department of Education. 25% shall be from that. For Veterans Affairs,
So it's not less than 20% from our games, right?
I'm sorry?
So not less than 20%. So if we calculate these numbers from the traditional games and the compensation from the contractors, we're going to come back to this number that you have here?
It's two different sections in the code, and that's one of the things we want to clarify with you guys.
No. Let me speak. Allow me to speak.
Can I
please,
clarify
because-
something, Senator Fred Gregory?
Yes.
The mandated transfers are taken from the compensated from contractors, not from our traditional lottery numbers.
But that's 25% based on the section of the code that I'm reading. Under 3093, the Virginals Initiative Fund, only if there's been an amendment to it. I really think that at some point, and the point is now, that the revenue expense, the non-operating revenue expenses, we need to get it right, because I do not believe that it's right. And the reason what gave me the impetus to ask this question is, let's talk about the transfers to the GRS, retirees bonus. What is your obligation to the transfers to the retirees bonus?
2 minutes.
10% under Section 4, it speaks to giving the GRS 10%. But then if you go further down into the legislation, under Section J, it speaks to the transfer of not less than 2.2 million. So that is one of the... I'm sorry?
Exactly. So that's where the issue is. So arbitrarily, what's happening is, from an arbitrary perspective, you are transferring less money on an annual basis. Your obligation is not less than 2.27. So it's 10% and not less than 2.2. So if your 10% falls less than the 2.2, then you got to give the 2.2. If it falls more, then you could bring it in as at what number you want to bring it in, not less than the 2.2. You have not been giving the lottery, the GRS, what they should be getting based on your income after expenses, because I see that your net income that's lost annually, there is additional resources that you are leaving on the books. I think Senator Joseph was trying to drive home that point. This section here, we all need to understand this a little more. I see that there is a challenge with it, and we need to get this right. This not less than and this over this and all of that is creating an issue.
Yes,
you
it is.
can't arbitrarily come with a 10%. It's $2.7 million that you're supposed to be transferring to the GRS, 2.2 million annually, 10%, but not less than 2.2. So your budget that you have here, you have 1.99, 1.3.
Zero, yeah.
You way below the number.
Okay, Senator, all I'm going to say to that, right? We've had this conversation before. As recent as yesterday, was talking
Okay.
to legal counsel. And yes, you're right. We need to clarify some of this legislation because you're giving 2 bites of the apple to GRS, and maybe our understanding is incorrect, but we need, this is part of what my testimony spoke
So
to.
my time will run out, my good cousin.
Time.
But let me share with you, right? We ain't giving 2 bites of the apple. This is why I disagree. Mr. Chair, can I wrap up, please?
You may conclude.
Yes, we're not giving 2 bites of the apple. It says 10%, but not less than 2.2 million. So it depends on the revenues that you generate in that particular year. The interpretation is very, very clear. And then you have times when you're leaving on the table $2.4 million, but you didn't give GRS their due. We got to clear this up. You owe the government money. And let me ask you another question. Transfers to the government. Do you have an obligation to transfer any money into the government of the Virgin Islands?
It's supposed to
What
be
is a dollar?
It's supposed to be the 20% after net income after we perform our
Right,
audits.
and you have zero, so you're not transferring any money.
Can't transfer
You
anything
can't
else.
walk away on the table with a net income and not transferring any money to the government. Yeah, you can't. What's happening here? We have to watch this very closely. This should not be occurring. I'm going to wrap up because my time has been called, but there is a lot of discrepancies in how these funds are being transferred based on what I see. I don't know if it's correct in your books, but what's in front of us is very confusing. And I know for sure you have not been giving GRS its due. And the Education Initiative Fund, same thing. I don't understand what's happening with your numbers. It's confusing. So our job is to make sure that we understand it. And if I don't understand it, I'm certain that my other colleagues don't understand it, that this is not clear.
Thank
And
you,
then you have
Senator.
a projection for 2023 of 22.3 million, but in 2022, as of 6/30, you already showed $19.2 million. So your numbers are woefully low. Your projections are very low. In FY21, you had 24.5 million. Why is the numbers so low this
Senator, you
time?
need to wrap up.
Mr.
Maybe you need
Chair,
to make your
I'm
time.
done. I'm
Thank
done.
you.
I'm done. This needs to be cleared up. I mean, we're rushing to clear this up, but it's a matter that requires clarity, Mr. Chair.
Director Williams or Ms. Proctor?
Like I just said before, I understand what
Point of
the
inquiry,
senator
Mr.
is saying,
Chairman.
but the idea that I think I'm not an attorney, number one. Number two, I think a lot of this, the transfers definitely need to be addressed. We started to look at it from the very first day I got there. I've been trying to figure through some of this stuff, but in talking with legal counsel in the governor's office, we hope to help to clarify some of this stuff. Maybe we need to sit down collectively and work through it. But, I hear everything she's saying, but, that's one interpretation. We may have another.
Thank you. Point of inquiry, Senator Joseph.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just to follow up with the Senate President, which was really on point there, because if you're not paying the government employees retirement system, do you have money that you have sitting in CDs, how you don't, and the interest earned from those to look at making sure those mandated transferred are made to those required funds?
Again, Senator, I don't know how else to explain this, as I did already. We need to review the legislation. We all may have different
The legislation
interpretations.
is clear. It's really clear. You have
It is
no
clear.
less now.
All right.
It is clear. There's no need. Listen, there's no need to complicate something that is very clear. Even I'm just saying it's very clear. So I don't see how you, as the executive director, are not adhering to the law and as required as mandated transfer. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for the time.
Thank you, Senator Joseph. Mr. Jacobs, is there a sports game in St. Thomas?
Lamar Jacobs, Director of Security and Investigations. I would be honest and say illegally, yes.
Have they been told to stop, to cease and desist immediately?
Yes, Senator.
Have we been able to determine how much revenues have not been contributed to this government by those illegal sport gaming machines that have been in St. Thomas for quite a while?
We have not done a study on the sports gaming as of yet. We only have done the illegal lottery games such as Pale and Bolita, but we have not done one on the sports betting.
And that's not necessarily on our purview, but I think, again, that too is something that needs to be clarified. Where does some of those games fall?
There are no past sport gaming legislation passed by this body. Sports gaming hasn't been passed by this body.
Correct.
If you have establishments where you can bet on baseball, basketball, etc., then those games are illegal.
Yeah, that we recognize, yes.
If those games are being conducted by one of the contractors of the government of the Virgin Islands, they need to be told to stop, and they should be penalized. Can't remember all the clauses of the contract, but all games by the contractors under VI Lottery, games must be approved by VI Lottery. They can't go outside the scope of the contract that they have. So we need to look as to whether or not their action is a possible fine. Because if we have sports gaming legislation that has been submitted, and all entities need to wait. You can't just do what you want, because when you do what you want, then we're not collecting any monies off of those games, nor do we know how much those games are generating. So I think we need to do a deep dive. We know who has been conducting those games, and we need to find out, exactly how much monies have you been able to accumulate from these illegal games, and what is going to be the position of the government of the Virgin Islands in reference to getting our share and stopping the operation until sports gaming is passed.
I have a point of inquiry, please.
Point of inquiry, Senator Fred Gregory.
Thank you. I don't think any of my questions were answered, and that's very frustrating. I'm going to go back to the net income / loss. When the lottery has a net income in any given fiscal year, what do you do with your net income? Because the lottery is not in the business of for profit, correct?
That's correct, Senator.
So what do you do with your net
Ms.
income?
Proctor?
Good morning, Senator Fred Gregory. After we have been audited and it's deemed that we have a net income, 20% of that net income is paid to the Department of Finance.
So when was your last audit?
Well, our last audit was fiscal year 2020, and it showed us in a negative, it showed us as a loss.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fred Gregory. Senator Gittins. Point of inquiry, Senator DeGraff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to follow up on the numbers that Director C had for me. I stepped out. So if I could get those numbers, if you already gave them, I could get them again, please.
He hasn't. So you could put it on the record, Director Williams.
I want to also clarify that I said we had 3 entertainment centers. There's actually 2. One is under construction in Tutu Park Mall. But one was 73, had 73 machines. At the Parrot Club in St. John is 73 machines, and Crown Bay on St. Thomas is 76. I was actually incorporating Winter Circle, but that's not an entertainment center. It's a big like one, but that's a retailer.
76.
76. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator DeGraff. Senator Gittins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry about that. I was just writing a note. Let me first thank you for your upcoming change in your, what you call it, your motto, your slogan, where you're saying, I am VI Lottery is me. Because God knows I can't understand the other one that when you play the VI lottery, everybody wins. Because I want to know what happened to me. Honestly. And a lot of people want to know what happened to them too. But nevertheless, this is our VI lottery, and I will continue to support.
We appreciate that.
I want to make my pitch again, though, that to embrace or to further embrace the integrity of the game, that we probably look at going to, I think is like the ball drop system, which I have spoken to you about. We travel, we had dinner, we talk about it
We
over
almost
and
fight
over.
over that.
And we continue to go, but I really think that this will really make people embrace the integrity of the game, where they can actually see those balls drop and not for the computer to randomly pick these numbers. And I'm saying that's just me making a pitch, but a lot of people feel the same way. I wanted to ask you, though, where are your activity centers? Let's start with St. Croix first. Your offices.
In Sunny Isle?
So you just have one on St.
Yes,
Croix?
one office on St. Croix, yes.
Okay. You're not returning, you're not having any satellite offices back in the town of Christiansted or Frederiksted?
No, we can't afford it.
And I guess that's cost savings to you.
Well, not just a cost, it become a expense or a greater expense for us if we were to satellite out there.
Okay. And what are your activity centers on St. Thomas?
We just have one in Subbase, not Subbase, on Princess Gata, downtown, the former Scotiabank location.
Okay. And St. John?
We don't have an office in St. John.
You don't have one?
No.
Are you looking into having even a satellite office on the island of St. John?
My marketing director is constantly on my case to getting a van that we can do satellite stuff with. But there's some other pieces that come along with that. You know, you have to have bathrooms, you have to have security. There's a whole bunch of other things. So
we can make it happen.
We can make it happen,
yes.
for sure. We can make it happen.
Yes. Let's make it happen for our St. Johnians.
And just to let you know, we're looking at hopefully by the end of our contractual agreement in St. Thomas going back to Franklin Building. We just got the authorization to do a technical assessment of the structure there and potentially repair it and move back there and then rent out the additional space.
But that's a rental again?
It's a government-owned property.
The Franklin Building?
Yes.
Okay, so let's hurry up and do that, because I would really love to see more government buildings being in their own. This government spends too much money on people property, refurbishing it, and leaving our buildings totally dilapidated.
Totally agree.
Look at our buildings in the downtown areas. Again, I'm going to make my pitch, because we're going to start doing these town hall meetings, because I do think that we need to address the historic preservation restrictions within our downtown areas so that we can be able to rebuild these buildings in our downtown area and just simply ask for the same facade. There's only certain buildings or certain structures within our downtown areas that needs to be historically preserved.
And just, if you don't mind, to that exact point, so where we're at in the Scotia Bank property in St. Thomas, we attempted to erect an awning to protect our dealers. But because of the restrictions,
you can't put up a...
We couldn't, they disapproved it, so we had to take it down.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And I keep telling them that this thing has changed over time, because when all this historic preservation restrictions came in, you didn't have these advocates for persons with disabilities and whatnot. So a lot of these buildings, so include our building, what we call the People's Building, or even Government House and whatnot, those houses didn't have elevators, they didn't have wheelchair ramps and whatnot, and we had to do what we had to do in order to accommodate people. So, you know, it's just a matter of the mind changes. Now, you have contractors who operate VLTs in the St. Thomas St. John district. What are they doing to address the problem gaming issues?
Okay,
Anything?
so great question. We well, not we, the contractors are part of a problem gaming association. Just recently, Mr. Pickering and I had a conversation about that. They are about to.
Which Mr. Pickering? Is
Marvin Pickering from the Casino Commission.
Nice.
So they're looking at AGM, the American Gaming Association, and there's a meeting, I believe, next week that we're going to be participating in, along with our contractors, to try to have not necessarily a central, but to have some product that can help us in assisting us with problem gaming.
I am comforted in just knowing that you and Mr. Pickering are having conversations.
And we travel to quite a few concerts together as well.
Oh, you're in Lyman though, right? You're traveling and conducting business. Now,
Time.
let me get, if I may close out just at the enforcement section. I want to say to you, Mr. Jacobs, continue to do the good work that you're doing. I am publicly proud of what you're doing. I saw the video that was played earlier. I want to suggest to the lottery division that you all do public service announcement advising people how to report illegal gaming that's going on in the territory so that they can become friends of the lottery. As you're saying, I am VI Lottery. Lottery VI is me. So let's extend that. And I want to leave you, Mr. Jacobs. Matthew 5:9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Just remember that. And I say that because, you know, I am not comforted in calling individuals out of their names, and especially when it's a young Virgin Islander doing their utmost best. And I saw this young man come to where he's at today. As a matter of fact, I recruited him into government from DV Casino Hotel. And I just couldn't sit here today and allow that to go over. We can't continue to do that to our own. Thank you for your service and continue to make all of us proud. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you.
Senator Vila, just real quick to the last point you made about a mechanism. Victoria, you want to speak about that?
Victoria Burgess, Director of Marketing and Public Relations. Currently on our website, we went ahead and uploaded a tool so that people can anonymously leave tips. So if you see something, you can go on to our website, click on anonymous tips, and you can leave that information. It goes directly to Mr. Jacobs as well as myself. We also have a tip line where you can call to leave that information. Correct,
Thank you.
and they will be in the commercials that we are going to launch.
Thank you so
Mr.
much
Chair, I have a
for
point of
that
inquiry,
information.
please.
Point of inquiry, Senator Gregory.
Yes, Senator. Please allow the testifiers to answer the two questions that I asked during my time, which was one that was tied to the 2023 budget projections of 22 million versus the 24 in 21 and the 19 as of 6/30/2022. And I also asked about that interest income. This is all on page 4 of the post-audit report, 4 of 11. And I also asked about that negative interest that's noted there. I need to understand if they understand what this is or have post-audit provide us with what this is since they say they don't have any loans. Please.
You may go ahead and
So you could
answer, Ms.
start with
Proctor.
the first one first, which is why is the operating revenues projections for 2023 reduced to 22.3 million when we are already seeing as of June of 2022 some 19.2 or 19.3 million dollars.
You may go ahead and answer.
It's still morning, Senator Fred Gregory. For fiscal year 21 and 22, 23 budget was budgeted as is, as I said in my testimony for fiscal year 22. When we budgeted, it had the $1 million drawing in there. So that was that was in that budgeted amount. And as for the 9 million that we budgeted for traditional games, we tried to keep it. Yes, we went up a little from last year, but we try to keep it at a minimum because right now, we are being faced with a lot. We come into the endemic phase of COVID. We got monkeypox, we got different stuff. So we didn't want to make the budget for our traditional games too high, and then we wouldn't be able to make that goal. Because we see, and so some drawings we have where, as the director said, we up to 54%. We might go sometimes to 58, but then we fall back down to 50. So we don't want to budget too high, as I said, for the traditional games, and we don't make it yet. In our compensation from our contractors, there has been an increase, and the numbers that I use for the budget comes directly from the compensation from the contractors themselves. They give me the budgeted figures. For the interest income, that total includes our interest income, our sundry, miscellaneous, such as overages and unclaimed prizes from CLS. That's how we come back to that total.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your responses. I guess the real answer as it relates to your revenues projections is that you are budgeting very conservatively, because I can't see how you hit the 24.5 in 21 and you're looking at 22.3 in FY 2023 and as of 2020. What is your revenues as of today?
I do apologize, Senator Fred Gregory, but I do not have those numbers with me because presently I'm out on sick leave. I'm just here doing the budgetary. That's why I'm not there in person. I have been out from July, so I don't have those numbers with me currently.
Well, thank you for your service and thank you for doing what you have to do while you're sick. But we need to have clearer numbers as we have these discussions on our budget. Thank you for the time, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of inquiry just as a follow-up. And I want to really...
One, you haven't been... Senator Joseph, wait until you're recognized. Senator Joseph, you're recognized for your point of inquiry.
I was waiting, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I wanted to ask Ms. Proctor. Ms. Proctor, I noted that in the meeting that was held by the Committee on Government Operations, you had indicated several, the executive director had indicated several accounts that have interest bearing. You had 3 certificate of interest. I'm sorry, 3 certificate of deposits. And that amount, including the statement savings account, total 6.8 million. Would you be able to tell us how much interest you've earned on this money being in these accounts?
That's what I have there.
As of June 30th, we received $2,678 in interest. $678 in interest.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much. And looking at the figures as to what you have collected thus far, as of June 30th, 8,521,304 in the traditional games, and you have 3 months left. It is clear that you're going to collect way more than 9,160,000. So, and then the 2023 projections, it did decrease. You're being very, very conservative. Easily, you're going to collect more than $10 million. Do you expect that?
Excuse me a second, Senate President. Can I make a statement? The budget was prepared from April of 2022, and it was approved in June. I was actually looking at the actuals for April when I made the budget.
Hold on, Ms. Proctor. So then can you resubmit page 5 to tell us exactly what you're projecting?
Page 5.
Can you resubmit what you think is going to be your 2023 projection for ticket sale, compensation from contractors, based on your June 30th number, we should have a clearer picture as to what we'll be able to project for next fiscal year. Agreed?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so if we can have that resubmission, so if we can just go back and do the revenue and expenses, if you could submit that to us, we'll send that to you in writing, and if we could get it before page 4 and 5.
You talking about the post audit report?
Oh,
Yeah,
page
Just looking at the
4.
format of the post added.
page 4, yeah.
Yes. So then we'll have a clear idea as to, I think we're going to be able to generate back to those 2021 numbers that we had, because I think that 2022 is going to come
is just
in
like
pretty close to what we had for 21.
And I think Senator Gregory said it best. Our numbers are definitely conservative. You know, I prefer to be on the conservative side than to say we're going to generate 14 million, and then you'll ask me, well, how come they don't generate 14 million?
Well, I mean, if not, but we're hoping that with all these games and with the proper monitoring and everything else, that we're going to be seeing a small increase every year. So let's see where we go from there. But I'm going to allow you to put a closing statement on the record now, because we have the next entity that is ready.
All right, thank you very much, Senator Viola and the Finance Committee. We come here before you to present a budget of earnings, revenues, expenses, stuff like that. I do agree that, as I said in my testimony, we got to look at the legislation. There might be different understandings or interpretations of what that is. That's one of the things I absolutely intend to clarify and get down to this body. There are some other sections as well, but overall, you know, I think the VI Lottery is a very healthy operation and healthy organization, and despite what any naysayer may say, tell them match up and come right with us. We are doing what we're chartered to do from day one, and we'll continue to do that. And I want to thank you guys for having us down here this morning.
Thank you so much, Director Williams. The Committee of Finance will take a 5-minute recess.